Welcome to Your Career Podcast. If you're looking for inspiration in your career or job search, you're at the right place. I'm Jane Jackson, your career management coach and author of Navigating Career Crossroads. For more career advice and support, go to janejacksoncoach.com and find all you need to create the career of your dreams. Welcome to episode 260 of Your Career Podcast. Today, I'm interviewing Chief Marketing Officer of UseVerb, a fantastic new platform that is revolutionizing the way people recruit and the way that job seekers make applications. I'm speaking with Michael Smith, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of UseVerb, a family man, world traveler, and community contributor. He is a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience in the oil and gas industry, contributing to giants like Woodside, ConocoPhillips, and Shell. His career, spanning major projects to operations and maintenance roles, has taken him across the globe. Now, after years of pursuing titles and egos and achievements, Michael experienced a profound shift in perspective. He realized that true success lies in impact, purpose, and authenticity. This epiphany led him to UseVerb, where he found a harmonious alignment of values and vision, a platform emphasizing personal interactions like smiles and handshakes, celebrating the human aspect in professional communications. As Michael embarks on this new chapter with UseVerb, his journey represents not just career progression, but personal transformation too. It's a story of aligning work with values and serving as a beacon for those aspiring to make a real difference in the world. And let's welcome Michael to the show. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Just to kick us off, let's find out what were your early career aspirations when you were just a little boy.
Oh, wow. Look, I had a fascination with space, but speed. I actually wanted to be in the Air Force. I wanted to be a jet pilot, fighter pilot, but that sort of stopped a little bit for me because of my I had a chronic asthma or chest condition, and it sort of inhibits you being able to move into that industry. But I've just got a fascination for speed and efficiency and precision. So everything to do with Formula One, everything to do with jet fighters, everything to do with mechanics. Love pulling things apart, but I love knowing how things go back together. So there's a real understanding in terms of even my nature in athletics. It's all about sprint. It's all about go to woe, get it done right, do it right first time. So I'm not very much a 9 to 5 kind of guy. It's almost like there's a problem, let's go and solve it. So it has to be done in the most fastest, efficient way possible.
Oh, I like that. Fast and efficient is very important, isn't it? But also just having a look at all of the content that you share and watching some of your videos, energy comes through. Energy and passion really comes through. And so I started to check out your career history, and I thought, now this is interesting. You're the Chief Marketing Officer of UseVerb, which is this incredible startup that's growing exponentially. However, you have an oil and gas background. You're an engineer. And so how does this compute? How does an engineer, which is all about analytics and, well, I suppose with marketing, it's data and analytics too. However, it is a different skill set, isn't it? So tell me about, so from Formula One and athletics and jet pilots and all those dreams in the early days, you decided to go into engineering. Tell me the story.
Yeah. So look, even first before that, I wanted to go into architecture. So I love drawing, but again, I love the precision. But I went into civil, chose mechanical because it was more my wheelhouse. I love cars, I love muscle, I love engines. But I think with the doing my trade as well, I've got a fitter and turner trade. And I've also got my profession. So there was a mutual hands-on and theoretical understanding. But even from the younger years, my parents would always see me like pulling things apart. All my toys, straight in with the screwdriver, pull it apart. But it was the fascination of like how things go together. And I think with what was in front of me in terms of delivery and the physical aspects of business and delivery of work, that moved me into a very accelerated position in delivering through others and understanding how people go together. And look, coming from a very big, lovey, kissy Italian family where everyone's friendly. I know how to relate, and I think in life if there's so much you can do on your own, but you can do so much more with others.
Mm.
And I really learnt that gift. And one of my nicknames at Shell was Magic Mike, because I was the president of the social club. But again, being able to bring people together and looking at all the aspects of the company through leadership, diversity, people, families, it was able to create a fabric. And as you know, it's a problem shared is a problem half. But by being able to work better with people and understand people and deliver through others, you can actually get more done. But that really set me up for when I went through Woodside, ConocoPhillips, into Shell, going to understand and use that skill set to even bring one of the largest gas facilities in the world onto station out of Broome, out of South Korea, and being a part of that that innovation was pretty exciting. And yeah, that's where it sort of hit that end of COVID, and that's where that sort of threshold crossover comes into what I'm doing now.
Ah, so interesting. So with that innovation and really being more hands-on in the earlier part of your career,
Mm.
how did this opportunity with UseVerb come up? Because you're now the chief marketing officer, and with that very solid engineering, oil and gas background, the transition initially you think, how did that happen? So what happened just before COVID?
So I had a bit of a Moses moment. I was at a point in my life where I think it was a great reset. We're looking
Mm,
for a new normal. We're looking for a new pattern. And I
mm,
think because the world slows down, I think there is a blessing behind COVID where you're sort of like, why do I do what I do? And
mm,
you can chase egos, you can chase titles, and being very ambitious in where I was at and what was the next job, what was the next promotion, what was the next. There was an opportunity to become an expat, move overseas, but it really reset me in terms of like what is important, and becoming a dad's probably been one of the most best things I've ever done. I mean,
oh,
I
yes.
wanted 5 kids, but the wife said no, you can stop at 3. But I think you see the world differently. It's not about me. It's about others. It's about people. And our motto on our shirts is speak life.
Mm,
And the transition came from a very close friend of mine when I was 17, a drinking buddy called Paul Duca. He is actually the founder of UseVerb. He's the CEO,
mhm, mhm,
and he's a top 40 under 40. He's an Ernest Young Award, engineer of the year twice. He was doing some cutting edge innovation in robotics during pre-GFC.
mhm,
And we'd always had a mutual respect for each other where I went off to do my thing. He went off to do his thing. But it was like, what are you up to? And what are you up to, Michael? And he was always saying, you're going to come work for me one day. And I'm like, no, I've got my career. I've got my pursuit. But again, coming to that point in COVID, you get stuck with this position of why do I do what I do? Is it about the title? Is it about the ego? Is it about the authority that you have? And you hear people in this day and age, Jane, where people say, "What do you do?" Like
mm,
what? It's not who you are. It's not
mm,
about the person. It's like what it's a title. And I suppose coming into that season, I was talking to my dad, and dad's got a very decorated past. He's got 3 degrees. He was one of the well site geologists that bought or discovered the Rankin Trend for Woodside, and very
mm,
similar fields in what he did when I was born in Houston, came over to Australia. And he's like, son, do what you love. And
mm,
it's not all about the titles and the egos, but you get very comfortable with the money. I mean, the money was good. Shell
mm,
was fantastic. They looked after me and the opportunities that I had. And I was so blessed to be in a position to use my skill sets and help in that delivery of just the biggest and the best. I mean, you're working for the biggest oil and gas company, you're working for the biggest facility in the world. It's the biggest innovation. It was like I'm at the if you want to look at the resume, I've ticked all the boxes, but it was almost like being away from family, being away from our kids, being away from certain things. It's like we say family and all this is important, but then we also continue to work, we continue to strive. And time's a funny thing, Jane, where it's a resource that we own as people. It's the unit of measure is effort. And like we always say to people, how are you? I'm busy. It's a
mm,
title. I started to think during this COVID period of like, is this really what you want, Michael? And you're just having these conversations in life where you've got that internal narrative and where you've got that quiet time and things start to slow down. And I was just walking in the facility and I'm like, are you satisfied? I'm like,
Mm.
no, I want more. I want, what's the next job? What's the next thing? What's the next property I want to buy? What's the next sophisticated investment I want to invest into? What's the next car look like? And it's just like, it's more, 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 more.
Mm.
And I'm like, when is it enough? And you come back to it and like the perspective of, I've actually got enough. I've got enough. I've got a great family. I actually want to build my family more. And I think just having that season of going, but I've worked 22 years to earn this position. I don't want to waste it. And I think that's a lot of fear that people have in the industry. It's like I've put all that IP into where I'm at, and that investment and that time and
Mm.
that energy and that worth, and like it's worth something. It's my time. It's the time of the investment. And yeah, I caught up with Paul, and as we did, and he was just coming back in from his proof of concepts over in New York with UseVerb, and he had tested it with Under Armour, American Express, Johnson and Johnson's. He actually had a pre-sale at Super Bowl, and he's like, "Well, it's not ready yet."
Mm.
And he came back to Australia, and we started catching up again. And I was just so interested in what he was doing because it was fresh, it was disruptive. It's privately owned. There's no seed funding in there. There's no one disrupting the company, trying to fracture it. And I was just telling him about my journey, and he's like, "Why don't you come work for me?"
Now
And I was
it's the
like,
time.
I was like, oh, and I think it was just the perfect time. I had a Moses moment. I'd been in the wilderness for 40 years, and it literally was 40. And I was like, I don't know if I can do what you want me to do, because that was my IP, that was
Mm.
my technical, that was my professional. And he's like, Mike, I don't need what you are, I need who you are. And it really clicked with me to say, wow, there's something else that we need to sell that people can't see. And it's
Mm.
us, it's our brand, it's our personality. And I just started to learn in the industry and working with people. You don't usually lose people because of a performance issue. You usually lose people because you either can't work with them. It's not,
Mm.
hey, Jane, you do a really good spreadsheet. I love your conditional formatting and the way that you do. No, it's not even about that. Like, we're doing
Mhm.
life at work. And I think when Paul's dream of, even when he conceptualized the proof of concept during his robotics company, the position he was met with about, I don't know, 800 engineers wanted to come work for him because it was cool robotics. I mean, it was wicked what he was doing, and everyone wanted to come and work for him. And everyone's like, I'm an engineer. I wear a checkered shirt. I've got the chino pants. I've got the RM William boots. I'm an engineer on paper. But he's like, where's the talent? Where's the bright
Mm.
spark? Where's the innovators? Where's the creatives? And sometimes we don't get to see that anymore because everyone's starting to look the same. Everyone's using chat GPT. Everyone's blending. Everyone's like, where's the spark anymore? And what we need to sell is ourselves, because that's the pitch. I'm the hard worker. I've got the right attitude. I can bring the vision. I can bring the energy. I can bring where we're going. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, that is what's unique to you. And I think that's what we're missing. So being in that season, I was like, stuff it. I was 4.5 years into that role, and at that time, the company was going for a reshape, and there were sort of options to look at and explore. But it wasn't part of my extension wanting to stay offshore, because it can be quite difficult when you've got a family and
Mm.
having to do that. But you do get comfortable because the money's good. I mean, we had a nice car, a caravan, and all that. But it's like, is this really it? I'm not satisfied. And what I needed was my people, and my people was my amazing, beautiful wife, and my children, and my aunties, and my cousins, and my friends, and my network. And you've got this fracture going on, off, on, off. And I just went, stuff it. And financially, I was in a position to do it. So I just went, all right, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And Paul said, Mike, I just need you. There's something you bring spark, you bring energy. And um, that's something that I've learned to understand for myself from even my younger years, where a lot of it was self-seeking,
Mhm.
self-validation, giving the world the authority to validate me. But as I've grown and matured and become a father and understand the position I have and the responsibility I have as a man, as a husband, as a provider, as a protector, and also just modeling that for my children, you start to understand that it's actually about them. What can I give them? What can I offer them? And still having the ability to bring people together and see the best in people. It's not self-seeking. It's actually
Mm.
selfless, and saying, hey, Jane, do you actually see that?
Mm.
That's in you. And I think we need to start looking at that. And that's what UseVerb wants to bring to the world. It's speaking life back in the marketplace and saying, look, you may be great on paper, but let them see you in person, because that's what you're selling. And if
Yeah.
we can get over this hurdle where the phones become weaponized. We've got a fear of what people might think of us, and have this wall and start saying, do you know what? I think I'm the best person for the job. Let me tell you why. And when someone comes back to you and says, I like that, mate, your confidence level goes up and you're like, I'm going to do a great job for you. Instead of saying, we just need someone to work 9 to 5, come in, we're not going to talk to you, we're disconnected. So this is rehumanizing recruitment. And this is what UseVerb's about, and just bringing a bit of spark back into the situation and finding a new way to hire.
Yeah, I think
That's the short answer.
keeping, yeah, and it's a great story too. But keeping the humanity in hiring is so important. And you know what? You were talking about how you were reassessing yourself because of, the lockdowns during COVID. It
Mm,
happens to so many people. I found the interesting thing is coaching pre-COVID, people would come to me because they wanted a new job, because they wanted more money, a bigger title, something more, something better, something bigger. But then during COVID, and very much so after COVID, there was a huge shift in
mm,
what people actually want. And I think it's because COVID actually gave us, it was a terrible thing and awful things happened to many people. However, the situation gave people that opportunity to slow down. And I think
mm.
that's the important thing. You mentioned people saying, oh, I'm busy, I'm so important, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But when you do slow down, you realize, oh, stopping and smelling the roses, it's a really good phrase, I
Mm,
reckon, because
mm.
when you do, you realize the important things are connection, human connection, your family, your friends, what really makes you happy. And so for you, you realized, oh, there's something more, to, buying another thing and a better car and bigger
Yep.
house and whatever. And when it comes to hiring, you can teach people the skills, but you can't teach someone attitude. You've got to have that attitude and that little bit of a spark. And you know how boring resumes are. Resumes are just so deadly boring. They're black and white piece of paper. It's just a fact, yes?
Yes.
However, having had a look at what UseVerb does, having that video aspect where you can see someone and you can look
Mm.
them in the eye. Yes, it is in a video. However, they can project their personality, and you can't invent a personality. The personality is there. You've got a
It's you.
spark or you don't
It's
have a
unique to
spark,
you.
right?
It's
Yeah,
it's there's only one of you, Jane. There's
yeah,
no one
yeah.
else like Jane.
And
And if
there's
we want to get
definitely only one
diverse,
of you, Michael.
that is what makes us diverse. We're all
Yeah.
unique. We're all special. We're all
Mm,
fearfully and wonderfully made.
mm,
But what we're doing now is even with ChatGPT,
mm,
we all need to look the same. We need to beat the bots. We need to basically say certain things in the resume to meet the requirements to get to an interview. Now,
mm,
the interview is the most important part of any hiring process.
mm,
Why? Because you get to meet the person. And we get sledged with the issue of like, well, this is discrimination. This isn't fair, Michael. But I'm trying to get back to the point where we're still got to have an interview. We're still got to meet the people. Now, people that are not very good on paper may be better in person. And it might be something that's required for that job. It might be a sales role, it might be a person. Even as you start moving up in management, you go from delivery to delivering through others and people, communities, regions, areas. You need to have those people skills. Now, if you're shortlisting people based on what they are, and then when you go to meet who they are in the interview, going, where did you get these people from? Oh, we just put it through our ATS and ChatGPT told us what to do. And that was it. Like the human factor needs to be brought back into it. So all we're saying is personality first, resume second, and grabbing that point of data that you want in the interview, putting it into the resume, putting it to the application, and having a more well-rounded hiring approach. So you as an employer can say, I get to meet all my candidates in less time in the interview. I get to meet you before I meet you in person. And what we're starting to see with our clientele and our companies, this is very much a company facing product. It's not there for job seekers. It's making it easier for them to apply. It's giving them an opportunity to stand out. But the pain point that companies are seeing at the moment when they're seeing a lot of resumes coming in written with ChatGPT, even if you do write it the right way, someone's still looking at it and they still look
mm,
the same. I'm great, you're great, he's great, she's great. Where's the point of difference? And the only way to validate that is actually when you meet the person, when you actually do the numbers. And even with all the cleverness of Seek, where you actually feed resumes in there and it gives you all the jobs you can apply to. Do you know what
mm.
the biggest pain point happening with companies now? I'm a person, I can apply to 50 jobs within 10 seconds. quick
Mm.
apply, and you get 50 applications from 50 people, that's 250 applications for people that don't even know what they're applying to. And when you actually ring them up and say, "Hi, it's Jane from the Careers Coach. Thank you for applying to the job. Sorry, where are you from? How
Mm.
much are you paying? Sorry, I'm not interested." And it's
That
like, wow,
happens all the time, and it really is a bugbear. It's frustrating, isn't it? And it makes it so hard for recruiters as well as hiring managers. And, when you think this person looks great on paper, you pick up the phone and they go, "Did I apply for that role?"
we don't know because
It's
it's just getting
it's
too
so
easy.
frustrating.
But we're finding the people that do the video want the job.
Mm.
You're putting a little bit of effort in, and do you know what it was? We had a sales rep role where we put it through Seat. We had like 960 applications. And I started looking at the resumes and I was just looking for a picture. I was looking for a
Mm.
person. I had pink paper, I had blue paper, I had round paper, I had yellow paper, I had square paper. Like it was all different, but it all became a blur because it was like the Matrix. And I was just like, bugger this. I'm actually going to go and create a job ad on our platform. And I said, hey, guess what? All of you, so you can use that as a pre-screening tool.
Mm.
Um, you've all made it to the second round, or you have made it to the second round. Selected all the emails. Said, I'd love to meet you before we meet in person. I only got 60. I got 60 videos.
Mm.
Now, all I'm saying is a lot of people just were hitting the quick apply going, nah, it's too much effort. It's too much effort. And this is where the apathy is coming into the market. This is what's happening post-COVID. We're still eating Uber Eats. We're still watching Netflix. It's time to get off the couch. And if there's something you want to do, the only thing that's going to make that happen is you putting a bit of effort in and making it happen. It's like the
Mm.
same conversation I was having when I was walking on the facility at Prelude. What are you going to do about it, Michael? Accept it and deal with it or do something about it. So you've got to be able to lean into that. And basically, when you're talking about that attitude thing, something came to mind. My mum always said to me, it's not your attitude. It's your attitude, not your aptitude that determines your altitude.
Mhm.
So I think with what we're trying to do here is, and even to the people that are listening to your podcast, you're trying to get an understanding of what I need to do next. And you're trying to have all the bells and whistles. It's like going to the gym for the first time. It's like, I've got to get the shoes. I've got to get the gear. I've got to get the program. It's like, just go.
Mm.
Make the first step and start to look at it. Okay, lean into the decision, lean into what the options look like. Go and speak to someone like yourself and say, hey, Jane, I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do with this idea, this thought, but don't close it because there's something inside of you that's saying, I want more. And the money doesn't cut it. The ego doesn't cut it. The title doesn't cut it. And if you don't lean into that, what actually happens is that something dies inside of you. You become bitter, you become twisted, and it's like, just going to go work, do my job. And it doesn't become something that you enjoy doing. You lose the passion, you lose the life, you lose the fire,
And it happens to
and it
too
doesn't bring you
many
to work.
people. It happens to too many people as they go through their careers, and very often they veer away from what their true career anchor is, and that's because they didn't know what it was in the first place. And they get tapped on the shoulder, and they say, "Oh, someone says, oh, here's some more money, here's a better title," and you think, "Oh, sounds like a good idea at the time." And then every time you say yes to something without giving it enough thought about whether
Mm,
it's truly the direction you want to go into, then you keep veering further and further away. Then you get to midlife crisis and you think, oh, this wasn't my plan, but it wasn't you didn't even have a plan to start off with.
yes,
But you
yeah.
know what I like about what you said earlier about if people think, oh, it's too much effort to do a video, well, that shows your attitude, doesn't it? It's like, do you
Does.
want the job or not? If
Mm,
you really want to work for this organization, you want to put your best self forward. And having that opportunity and the way, from what I understand, how UseVerb works now, having had a look at it, is you make it so easy for people to create their video, to upload it. It's
mm,
just there. So just do it. And if you want
yeah.
the job, just do it. And if you're afraid to talk to people, well, you're absolutely right. With every role, you need to be able to communicate. Communication is key in just
Mm,
about everything that you do. Even if you're an analyst and you're always in front of a computer, at some stage you're going to need to present your findings to someone. So that communication is important, isn't it? So I think
oh,
the
absolutely.
opportunity that UseVerb gives for job seekers is excellent, but then also helping employers when they're doing the hiring, that's gold, isn't it?
Mm. Look, to get into even the brokenness, I think where the world's at these days, we are craving connection. We are literally craving it, and if you don't have it, you want it. But we're trying to find the people that we can be safe with. I heard a talk the other day about positive toxicity. Toxicity. It's just like everything's fake. Everything's gossip. Everything's I'm building a relationship with you for someone else. I'm hot wiring connection, and what we want is depth. We want those people we can be vulnerable with. But you've got to find your safe people, Jane. You don't just go and share your hearts and minds with everyone. It's like these are my safe people. These are not my safe people. But these are the ones that build me up. These are the ones that pull me down. Go and stay with these people and let them build you up. And if you haven't got that community around you, go and find people, even like yourself. It's Jane. You need that. You need the experts to say, look, I need a bit of help here. What do I do with this thought? How do I lean into that? And we've got to make sure that we start looking after people, because the human connection, we're trying to fabricate everything through disconnected products. We're more connected than ever digitally, but we're more disconnected than ever relationally. Facebook is about building relationships. Twitter is about having an opinion. Pinterest is having an idea. Instagram is about capturing a moment. I mean, what are we trying to do here? It's doing something, but it's not doing it in the way that we want it, because the human connection is built by doing this. I got to give you my time. You give me your time. I feel value. Thank you very much. We've built a relationship. And the more you do that, the more I trust you, the more that I understand you, the more that I see you. I want to walk with you. And even I was on a podcast yesterday, just talking. You've got to make sure you've got people in your lives that you're walking with, that are walking your story. And in everything has a season. The season that I was in has set me up for the season I am in. Everything I learned in the oil and gas days has prepared me for the season I'm walking into, my SaaS product technology phase. But it's all relative, and it's all about handing down and passing on. But it's not about the titles, and it's not about the egos, because once that's gone, it's gone. You can't come back to work tomorrow and go, I need a pat on the back. Where's your people? Where's the people you're walking with? Where's your story? And when you want to tell the story, you're like, I don't want to, because no one's been journeying with me. You don't know what I've been going through. You don't know where I've been. So just start having those conversations with the safe people. Start leaning into that, because your narrative is different to their narrative. And sometimes they see something that you don't see. And wherever your head's at, even with mental health these days, go and find someone that says, do you know what? I really like that about you. Oh, I didn't even see it. So let's just turn that around and show people and say, hey, this is me. I like that. I don't need to be a high-end influencer. I don't need to have all the fame, warts and all. This is me. And let's get real. That's what UseVerb's about. And that just takes away the fake, the high-end, like we call it TikTok for jobs, but it's an authentic video, which says, I like that. And it's in the application. It's not interview screening. It's literally, I become the cover letter. I mean, cover letters suck. I mean, I don't even know if anyone actually reads them. They just look at me. This is what, but the video says so much more. And when you really get down to it, Jane, would you rather watch the movie or read the book? You watch the movie because you don't have time to read the book. So let's make it faster and easier for people to apply and see what they really need to see. Let them go with their gut to make more informed hiring decisions, to then do the due diligence, to look at the skills and then the experience, to then make a well-rounded decision around, I think we've got someone real great here. And I tell you what, when they come in for the interview, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I've met you, because it really feels like we've set the right person. And we've got companies even telling us now, we don't have to interview anymore. What took us 2 months takes us 2 days, because we're going with something that makes sense. But having that ability to watch a 27-second video, which is the limit, to have a first introduction, goes, there's something more than meets the eye right here. I want to know more, as opposed to getting the shock factor in the interview.
Yeah, and you know what's so interesting about limiting the time is that it's very easy to tell a long, long story, a long meandering story.
Boring,
But
yeah.
to get the essence of you in a short period of time, that's a skill as well. And so if you're able to deliver a message quickly, succinctly, and capture that essence, it's so important. And you know what you were saying about how people want to be seen and heard, and you need to have your people or your tribe around you.
Yes.
Most people, they leave a job, not because they can't do the job. It's because they haven't been recognized by their
Valued.
managers. And yeah, exactly,
Mm,
feeling value.
mm,
Everyone wants to have their existence validated and,
mm.
to be seen because, everybody matters so much and too many people don't feel seen. And
That's
I think
that's the issue with the next generation. It's
yeah,
literally, we did a study. Do
mm,
I matter?
yeah,
Literally. Whether I'm doing something stupid on TikTok to get
mm,
someone's attention,
mm,
it gives me value. Even if it's the wrong validation,
mm,
it's given me attention. And like you said, people will stay in a toxic environment, even if it's a place of belonging. It's the
mm,
wrong belonging. It's a
mm,
community. It's a presence. And if we don't start thinking about others beyond ourselves, I mean, we want it just as much as they want it. But sometimes we need to rise above that and say, instead of looking at what's wrong in people, because we create a lens,
mm.
say, hey, thanks for what you did today. And that's to all your viewers here. If you've got some people that you value in your work and your business, go and
Say
speak
thank
into them.
yeah.
Lift them up and say, thank you for what you did there. It's small things that matter in life. And they're the ones that will give you the extra mile and the extra gain that you want in your business.
Mm. You know what? One of the best managers I ever had was when I was in employment. I run my own coaching practice now, as you know, but this manager was amazing. Every time I would knock on her door, instantly she would look up and go, "Ah, Jane." And then she'd close her laptop and say, "Yes. What can I do for you? What's up? What's on your mind?" And it was never, "Oh, I'm too busy." Never. And it was amazing. She was like that with everybody. So this was someone who really cared about her people. I had another excellent manager who, at the end of the day, there was a whole bunch of consultants all doing things, and he would look through the window, and we had like frosted glass, so it was clear and then frosted and clear and frosted, and he'd peek through and he'd have a look and know that we'd probably had a long day, and he'd go little thumbs up like that. And if I said, "Yep, I had a great day, it's fine," he'd go, "Okay," and then he'd be off and away. But if it was like, not a good day and a little
Yes.
sad face, he'd come right in and go, "Okay, 5 minutes, let's get it off your chest and talk." And it was so good because it was somebody cared enough to spend that little bit of time with you. And I think
Mm,
that's the important thing. During COVID, people realized that connection is so important. And obviously for you, Michael, in your career as well, because you've got that passion and enthusiasm, I can see now, getting to know you better during this podcast. Yes, you're an engineer by training originally, but you are so into the people connection, and that's what
mm.
marketing is all about. Getting the message across so that people hear it and they understand it. Yes.
That's
So,
what
I mean,
Paul always told
that's,
me.
yeah, well, it's
Paul to see
fantastic
it.
for
I'm like,
UseVerb.
no, I'm not a salesman.
Yeah.
And he says, you're selling life.
Mm, mm,
People are attracted to your brand. And I'm
mm,
just like, hey, this is me. So
mm,
I think when you actually start doing what you love, and
mm,
if you're not satisfied where you're at, there's something telling you internally
mm,
to take a look on the inside, pop the bonnet. Don't wait until the car's broken down on the side of the road and the wheels have fallen off. Just pop the bonnet and say, look, can you get an expert in like yourself, Jane, and say, can you just help me unpack this? What does it look like? What does it lean into? But it does come back to that busyness. We are just always busy, busy, busy.
mm,
We've got to take time to slow down. I mean, I'm managing 3 time zones at the moment, and it is busy. We are scaling. We're doing one to many. We're reaching global domination. We're kicking off in America in about 2 months. New sales teams, dev teams are in Estonia, head of products in Hungary, marketing's in South Africa. We've got about
fantastic.
30 ambassadors around the world.
Mhm.
I've got to make time for what's important. I've got to come back to that hand. What's
Yeah.
important? And I've
Mm,
actually got to block time out and find those ways of coping and finding the people that build me up and support me. Otherwise, you burn out. But
mm,
having that time to think and talk through something and say, hey, Jane, thinking about having a career change. I don't really know what I want to do, but don't wait till you've hit that brick wall, because that's when it's hard to regroup. And don't pull the trigger on a job until you've got something else that you're ready to go
mm,
into, or you want to skill up, or you want to prepare for. Otherwise, it's not an easy transition, because you still have a responsibility, whether you got families or people or partners or financial commitments. That life still goes on.
mhm,
But it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it is. But I think sometimes the hard part of it is just to lean in and go, what does next look like? What does the next season look like? And just start there and make a step in that direction where you can explore that, entertain it. Because with the mind, as you start focusing on something, you start to attend to that information. It's like
Mm.
when you buy a new car, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many of these cars
You
on the road.
suddenly see them
They didn't just
everywhere.
appear,
Yes.
they've always been there because you're focusing on that. So whether you're focusing on the wrong or the right, you've got to be really intentional around looking into, leaning into what something may look like, and being excited about that, because it can actually be what gets you out of where you're at and moving forward to get excited about what that next season might look like.
You know what? I've already got ideas in mind for the next season for you. Right now, it's definitely UseVerb, but for you, as a motivational speaker, I can see you up there. You would be the most amazing inspirational coach. And I think that's going to be the next thing.
Great. Next,
Because
Tony Robbins.
yeah, well, you've got it in you. You've definitely got it in you. You've got the energy, you've got the attitude, you've got a huge heart as well. And that comes through so very, very strongly. So
Thank
I
you.
think it's wonderful for UseVerb because you're going to really make this grow exponentially. I love the platform. I think it's just the most brilliant thing since sliced bread. So tell me more about UseVerb. So for employers, they should use UseVerb because.
Yeah, so look, UseVerb is very much a company facing product. Look, we still continue to ask for the resume, the CV, the paper. I'm a job seeker, right? I've got to apply to a job with Jane. No worries, Mike. Just send me your resume and cover letter. I hit a wall with that, and I'm like, oh, I've got to go and type up a resume. I've got to put it in the right format. Look, it's required. But as an employer, we've got to start making ourselves look attractive, because we keep asking the same thing. The job seeker keeps sending in the resume, saturating the market. Job seeker can't see you. You don't stand out. Boom, boom, boom. Mexican standoff. This is where we're at right now. The market is saturated with just noise. AI is coming in to make it better, but it's actually making it worse because it's removing more of the human connection. That's the biggest thing I can highlight here. We've got to put the human factor back into it, but it's our time. So what users are really doing is helping with that time to hire, where you can actually go and present yourself as an attractive company. Anyone that walks into a business that looks for an interview, they'll walk in there and go, can I see myself working here? And if you haven't got something that presents who you are as a company, it says what you are, what you're about, but not who, the people, the eyes, the ears, the faces. UseWeb allows you to bring that to life and give you a really slick way of attracting candidates, which actually says, I actually want to meet you. I actually want to see what you're like. Give me a 27-second pitch. And the way that you receive this information, you still get the skills and the experience, but you get to add the personality. And for people that may be more extroverted, that actually want to shine in the application, or people that are introverted, that actually want to practice their first introduction because there's a little bit of fear walking into an interview. It works for both, but having a well-rounded approach where I can do a 27-second video, that is the science behind yes or no, do I want to invest any more time? We're doing that on paper, but it's really easy being able to speed out your talent pool, see what you're wanting to do, and shortlist those candidates through a Kanban and getting down to the people you want to meet and greet. There's a really cool dashboard in there. You can do share applications to business. Like, let's say you're down south on holiday. I could send you a quick video. Hey, Jane, what do you reckon to this group of people? Which ones do you want to come in? It might be the alternative. Let me wait until I get back in the office Monday. I'll have a look at the resumes. Everything in the time to hire is being stretched. We just speed that up and give you what you need at the front end. So you're dealing with the best of the bunch to shortlist the candidates that actually you want to spend time with. And that's what people are wanting. They're wanting something different. So we are a completely new way to hire. It is disrupting the market. It's rehumanizing the way that people work. And it's the last sector to be digitized. I mean, come on. We've taken the people part out of the people problem. So if people are your problem and you're really trying to put a focus on people, make your hiring process and your application process not part of the process to get people in that you actually want to meet and greet and be part of your culture, part of your business, help that retention, help that human capital. That's something that's going to be measured soon with companies, who stays, who goes. So just having that ability to make it a bit more attractive, and a jobs board that connects with your market and your people, because the people that follow you are the ones that want to come work for you.
And also with the videos, it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because with a job advertisement, they are so dry, but using UseVerb, the company can display who they really are, what it's like to
Yes.
work here. You can have a walkthrough of,
The
here's
company
this
has a
office and
cover
here's
letter as
this
well.
office. I think that's fantastic because it shows what the culture is like. And of course, you need to be honest about it, but it's a real person walking through a real office. How good is that?
Mm,
And then people can decide, oh, okay, that looks like somewhere that I wouldn't mind being at. And then
mm,
they providing that video of what their personality is like. I was just thinking for some people who are a little bit quieter and shy and are not that natural on camera, they might fear that, oh, I'm not out there and buzzy on video. But that's not what people are looking for. You don't always need someone who's out there and buzzy. You might want someone who's very detail oriented and quiet and paced in the way that they present
mm.
themselves. And if that's the sort of person that you're looking for, and that's how they come across on video, that's good too. So I think for anyone who's thinking about presenting themselves, don't worry whether you are an extrovert and love being on video, or you're a little bit shy. If you are a little bit shy and quieter, let that side of your personality shine through on a
Mm.
video as well, because everybody is looking for something a little bit different. I love the platform. I think it's absolutely fabulous, and I recommend that everybody listening to this to connect with Michael Smith. You'll find UseVerb and Michael on LinkedIn easily, and
Mm.
useverb.com, right? That's
Yes.
where they can find out all about it. And I'll put the links in my show notes on janejacksoncoach.com/podcast when this goes live. And I would like to find out from you, what would you say are your top 3 tips for job seekers? Because
Mm.
I work with job seekers, obviously, who are going through a career
Mm.
transition, if they want to put their best foot forward using UseVerb.
Putting your best foot forward using use verb. People don't know what they don't know. Now, if there's something about you that you want to let people see, you've got to show them. So this is where the Youth for platform works really, really well. Even to that point you just made with the introvert, they can sit there and it's very much short form. You get 27 seconds. There's a teleprompter at the top. You can write out your script. You can talk from it. You can hold the record button down. You can practice it. You can delete it. You can go forward and back until you get it right. So I would really say to job seekers, what do you actually what's actually motivating you? What are you actually trying to do? And if you're going to do it, do it. I think procrastination is one of the worst things that just it creates a mindset and it just sits there and festers. And you're sitting on something and doing nothing with it. And look, the time will pass because you did nothing with it. You got bitter, you got twisted, you got irritated. That's your fault. You didn't lean into it. You didn't move forward with it. You didn't speak to anyone with it. You just sat with it. So whether it's financial situations, whether it's a house, whether it's a relationship, there's stuff that we sit on that we've got to take time to stop. I think we talked a little bit about that. I actually create space in the day to stop,
Mm,
just reflect, just decompress, smell the roses. I mean, there is a lot of truth in that.
mm.
Just being having the ability to just go for a walk, go for a lap. There's something about just stopping and disengaging and going to smell the roses, smell the air, look in the sky, look at the beauty that we
And
live in,
breathe and
and
breathe.
and breathe. It does sound
Mm.
a little bit light and fluffy, but it's real. There's some real truth in that. Just to stop. The work's always going to be there. The work will never stop. Okay. So if you feel like I've just got to get this done, I've just got to get this done. If you're saying that, just got to get this done, it'll never be done. You've just got to learn to cope with it, work with it, understand it. Everything goes on. So I think it's really important for job seekers. Listen to who you're becoming. I
Mm.
think if there's people that have seen you changing, there's external factors where you're different now, and it might just be that you've got too much on. There might be too much pressure at work. You might actually not know what next to do. You might have applied to 6 jobs and haven't heard back, but you've got to lean into that and say, I've done what I know how to do, not what I need to be doing. It's so important to find people that understand you, understand where you're at, and try something new. It's so good to just do something exciting, but I do understand when you have spent a lot of time working towards something, and it was the advice my dad gave me. It's you can always like look down and pick up nothing. But if you don't give it a go, you don't know if anything's there. And having my dad's past life and his career, he got to the end of it and he was just like, I had a good life, son, but do what you love, because there is a clock ticking, and it's the unit of measurement is your life. It's time. Time is your resource. So wherever your time goes, my mum said this to me, love is spelled Time. So if there are things that are important to you, start prioritizing them. And I think once you find that space to do what you want to do, what's good for you, you actually start to take control of your life back. And it might just be great. And I keep coming back to you, Jane, but I love what you do and I love what you're about. But just having that ability to go, I've got a question. I've been doing this for 22 years, but I don't know what to do next. And having someone that can actually unpack that and see, like Paul did for me, a skill set that you don't even know you have. And then they give you the opportunity to walk in that and celebrate that. You're like, whoa, confidence level goes up, your ability to understand who you are. And the last thing I'd also say to job seekers, don't give the world the authority to validate you. It's not about going to work, getting a pat on the, I mean, this is a time for another conversation. I'll talk about that shift where I got burnt out. I went for a stress cycle as well. And that was in that first 40. But learning to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. But don't go to work to get a pat on the back, because it can be taken away in a heartbeat. And
absolutely.
it's not fair for you, and it's not fair for where you're at in life, and it can really derail you. So if you're doing a lot of things to be liked or be considered or be told you're doing a good job, do I matter? Life is to be enjoyed, and it should be enjoyable to go to work. And if it's not, understand you need it for what it is right now, but lean into something else that may bring you what you need and the happiness you want. So that's just speaking life into all your viewers, and it's been a pleasure being on board, Jane.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? Key takeaways. You know what I really like very much? Listen to who you're becoming. That's so important, because people
Not
can.
who you are.
Yeah, no, it's listen to who you are becoming, especially if you're having a difficult time as well, because we can get very frustrated and angry, and then it becomes a way of life. And the other thing from your lovely mother, love is spelt Time. That is beautiful. I love that so much. I have loved talking to you, Michael. It's been so good. And I'm going to see you on the global stages, coaching senior executives into really becoming the person they were born to be. It's such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
If I'm over your way, I will come and see you.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Come to Sydney and let's have more than a coffee. We'll have a big lunch and a long talk. It'll be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me today. For affordable career help, please check out my Career Success Program. I provide a unique blend of online and live career coaching to help you take control of every aspect of your career or career change. If you aren't where you want to be in your career, let's talk. Check it out at thecareersacademy.online. The links are in my show notes.